Hello, my dear one. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's always good to see you, you know. You're always smiling. You're always happy.
So I just wanted to ask you what you do here at your center.
Oh.
So if you want to
Well, I'm
explain.
kind of runaway station here.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the last stop place. So we deal with what Richard Schultz would call the incurables. We're generally the last place people stop because we're on a planet here that very unconscious when it comes to man's health and healing. And his happiness too, you know. And his spirituality, which is all tied together as we were talking earlier. But here we repair people. You know, we repair tissue in the body and put them back on the planet alive and healthy and happy. So these advanced states, there's no one out there that can help these advanced states. You know, you guys are learning and have helped a lot of people. They're really pulling out some very deep cases around. And that's what we're about, taking the insane cases that no one can fix and fix them. And we're well known for that. But then the general person can find their wellness easy here. So we're about detoxification and the regeneration of tissue as opposed to the treatment of the illusionary concept of diseases. A big difference. You know, when you live in a world of illusionary concept of diseases, you're disempowered to the intellectual side. Your joy is taken away from you, and you feel like you're done for. Whether it's cancer or whatever, you could have a life of pain. They put you on pain meds, things like this. Where here, you fix the problem. You go to the cause of the problem, you fix it, and you're done. Your pain's gone, your cancer's gone, whatever you dub your issue is. But we also educate you. We're an educational clinic. As you've been to our schools, we have free YouTubes, we have everything to educate you because you've got to be educated in today's world. Because you just said something about happiness and spirituality. You got to get a hold of your consciousness and know that you're riding your car. You got to grab a hold of your journey and become one again with that instead of a leaf blowing in the wind. And when you get in trouble with your health, a lot of times we run to medical doctors, which is the worst place you can run because that is a killing machine out of control. And it's shocking to hear those kind of words for people, but when you look at the stats, they're scary. So there's no hope there. There's no curative value. It's a treatment of diseases, which is a concept that's totally made up, has nothing to do with physics and chemistry and reality. So one's happiness comes about when they start to touch nature again. And they start to taste what real food tastes like, you know, unfired. No, we're a tropical species, and we're used to eating food alive. So when we migrated to caves and northern climates, our health went right down. We had to eat dead food to survive. National Geographic just had a thing in their latest National Geographic magazine talking about the Paleo Diet and how untrue that is. That back in those days they found more vegetable matter in the teeth of cavemen and stuff instead of meat. So there's a lot of misconceptions in this world born out of the ridiculous concepts of allopathy and nutrition and health and all of that. The average person doesn't really know what all that means. And it is as simple as eating what your body's designed to eat.
So what is that?
Fruit, berries, and melons. We are a frugivorous species, primate species, the oldest part of a Homo sapien looking bipedal female was found not a couple of years ago by National Geographic, dated 44 million years ago. And they were talking about how can that be, because in Ethiopia this is an arid place and the human is a tropical species. So it helps you when you listen to understand what species you are. Well, a frugivore species is a species like a primate who eats predominantly fruits and berries. And of course melons are good. When you get into vegetable matter, you're into a whole different species. You're into herbivores, their whole bodies are different, their teeth are different, and we've discussed all of that, of course. So all of that is man learning where he fits in an order of nature. At this point, man considers himself above or away from nature. And man just needs to have the mother wrap on her arms around him and hug him and understand his body and how to get well. That's the easy part of life, actually. For man suffering so many years and so long, the antidote, the remedy, has always been simple. So how to get well has always been simple if you have self-discipline and you want to change your life. If you don't want to change your life, some people love their quote-unquote diseases, so there's no improvement. Their consciousness is solidified in this realm. There's no way to grow. But you bring up a good point, spirituality. That's should be your number one focus, because that's your survival beyond this lifetime. And if you don't know who you are, where you're going after you pass from this body, then you're a leaf blowing in a wind in that respect. So spirituality is becoming conscious again. That's simple. Out of that, your demeanor is going to change. You see God in everyone. You see God in everything. You start to realize that all of us are a spark of the one. And that it's only God individualizing itself so it can experience itself. That's all life is. And so you start to realize who you really are. And so that to me is key, is developing your spirituality. How do you do that? And what does that mean?
Where does the herbs fit in with all of this?
The herbs fit in as incredible tools of the trade. You know, when you look at tools, okay, when you're working on anything, tools are always good to have. And this is true with health. So let's look at allopathy for a minute. Allopathy uses tools of pharmaceutical worlds. Well, on the front page of Consumer Reports about 2 months ago, front page, it says, protect yourself from your hospital stay. Over 440,000 people in America were killed last year from medical doctors and pharmaceuticals in hospitals. 500,000. Now, that's a conservative number. We could probably double it safely because I've worked for years in hospitals. I know how we cover things up. So things can be covered up to the point where you could double that statistic. So going to a hospital last year probably killed almost 1 million people in America alone. Just by use of pharmaceuticals and mistakes. We had none. For any reason, we had no deaths from the use of botanicals or homeopathics, I might add. That's incredible. And that's, as far as I know, much of the world is that. So you have to understand that's their tools. So the tools of a medical doctor are surgeries, depending on the level of medical doctor, of course. Obviously, we use pharmaceuticals. So you're limited in your tools, and those tools are removal tools and the treatment of symptoms. But most of those are chemical treatments of symptoms, which suppress symptoms and suppresses the body's need to clean and expectorate the toxins you're putting in. That's all it is. So we go to homeopathy. Homeopathy has tools, but generally herbs or other factors that are traces of energetics of the original form. So when you take an herb like bloodroot, homeopathically, bloodroot is only going to have the vibrational essence of it as opposed to the power of it as herbs. And that's why I like botanicals. You have the whole power. You have the consciousness of the herb, you have the consciousness of the chemistry, you have the power there. So that's why I like herbs. And they're tissue specific. We have nothing tissue specific in pharmaceuticals. Sorry, I don't care what they claim. You don't have anything in vitamins and minerals. They're not tissue specific too much. But if I need something for the liver, I've got a tool. I can go in and get the barbarous family. I can grab burdock. I can grab yellow dock. I can grab Oregon grapefruit. I can grab some of the best herbs out there for livers or gallbladders. If I need to work on kidneys, I've got herbs. And herbs are powerful, as you've seen. Very powerful. If I want to break up tumors in the body, I've got herbs to break up tumors. So when you use herbs for detoxification and regeneration of tissue, it changes the whole concept of treatment of ridiculous concepts of diseases into what's really going on with chemistry and physics in the body. What have you been putting in for years? What's your genetic makeup? And how do you turn all that around, including your genetic weaknesses? How do you regenerate the consciousness of cells? And that's what we do here. Yeah, that's fun. It's a lot of fun.